This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic.
Hello, bright soul. Thank you so much for joining me on another podcast. I had the most blissful morning reading outside on my patio. My cat comes and cuddles, and the wind is gently blowing, and the temperature is perfect. And I am so grateful for each and every moment, each and every day. Although there are a bunch of grasshoppers here lately, it's kind of interesting when I'm walking down into my yard. They jump on me. They're everywhere. They're jumping in the bushes. They're jumping on me. I don't know what that's about. And a lot of times I'll look up the spirit totem or the spiritual meaning of insects. Do you guys do that when you see them a lot? It's like, is this a message or is this just a bunch of grasshoppers? Who knows? But in any case, super grateful. And I want to go into the topic for today. And that is slow and steady is really how we accomplish great things. And this is so important in this time of shortcuts and hacks and quick fix. Some things, well, a lot of things, most things require steady, consistent effort. And I remember years ago, there was a builder that was building a bunch of homes very quickly. And they were these cookie cutter homes, and they were new homes, and they were at an affordable price. And a lot of families were really excited and purchasing these homes. And then the foundation issues start, and the houses were so poorly built, and the shifting foundation. Why? Because it takes time to do these things. You can't just throw it up overnight. You can, but will it be quality? Will it last? Think about work even. I mean, these situations can go into every aspect of our life where if I was in my job that I have right now 20 years ago, before I knew more about the organization, before I had the experience of analyzing data, speaking, giving presentations, I would be in way over my head. And what we see now is people graduate high school and maybe they go to college or a trade, and then they expect to walk into a position and make $100,000 a year. No, you don't have the experience yet. It takes time. Same is true for weight loss. I mean, I used to be in this toxic diet loop. It was the culture, but maybe I overate on the weekend, and then I want to do a juice fast for 3 days to lose all this weight. And you're not losing weight. You're losing water weight, and you gain it all back because it's carbs. And then as soon as you eat the carbs, it comes back. And it's this vicious cycle that doesn't have lasting change. And I used the practical examples to then come to the spiritual side. Spirituality in this healing occurs in layers. Sometimes you'll go to a spiritual retreat, you'll get a healing, and then you feel like the bottom fell out. Why? Because you just cleared away a layer for the other surface to bubble up to then clear that. And I caution people about trying to aggressively go on this journey and evolve quickly because I did that. And I've shared about it in previous podcasts where when I was first learning Reiki, before I switched over to pranic healing, this was 12 or 13 years ago, I got on this path very quickly, and I advanced through the levels up to the teacher level very, very quickly. And I gave myself a major healing crisis. I think there was a little bit of Kundalini, but your body has to physically house this energy. So that's why sometimes when you are in the presence of a great teacher or you're in the presence of great spiritual energy, it gets you emotional. Sometimes it can fatigue your body. You feel exhausted because your physical body can't hold it. This is why it's a gradual, consistent process, because as you do the cleaning, the clearing, you're committed to your practice, your chakras slowly expand, and the bigger they are, the more energy they can hold. But if you try to do it quickly, what happens is the webbing of your chakras get cracked, and then it gets nuts. And this is why I caution against ayahuasca and things like that, simply because me as an energy healer, I've watched people do that and crack their webbings. And a lot of times those deep insights or psychotic episodes that sometimes people can have is because the webbing of the aura gets cracked because you tried to advance yourself too quickly and your body can't hold it. And yes, you may feel like, oh, I had this vision. There could be all kinds of things, low energy, trickster spirits. And I'm saying trust your intuition. In the old days, You would study with a certain shaman for years. You'd be committed to that practice. You'd be just working with that shaman. They would be making sure your body can hold it. You're doing all these cleansing practices, preparing, and then you do that. But now people just, they find a place in Mexico, jump on a plane, go do it, and with everybody else in the group and all their stuff. And we're in a time on earth where the light is getting lighter and the darkness is getting darker, more than I've ever seen. And there's so much going on, spiritual warfare, that I would say I'd be very careful about opening myself up with people that I don't know, with a shaman that I don't know, that I haven't studied with for years, and making myself vulnerable to those kind of energies. I tend to err on the side of caution anyway. I believe doing things correctly, methodically, systematically, getting the proper training, and taking this work very seriously. That's the way that I approach it. It's not just some binge weekend thing that I would go and do and then mess up my life because that's the way I see it, only because of the people I've seen do it. I've not ever seen it produce a positive result energetically. Now, I'm not saying that you can get a deceptive spirit and think when we're deceived, we don't know we're deceived, right? And I shared about that in a previous podcast about a friend of mine that I watched just wreck herself with that. Now, I've had people, they get very defensive about it and say, it worked for me and I do it. And it's like, if it works for you, go for it. I'm just speaking from my experience and from the experience of the healers that I am in community with and what they see too. But we're all different, and no judgment. I'm just sharing that instead of doing that, you can get that same result by doing daily, consistent effort. Those type of things can also be done with breath work, conscious breath work, and you're in control of it. You're not ingesting anything. You're not absorbing anybody else's stuff. You're in control of the ride. That's what one of the facilitators always says at the beginning of breath work. She'll say, you're in control of this ride. You're the one controlling your breathing. You're doing it. So if you don't like what's happening in your body, just return to your normal breathing. And I know there's all different kinds of breath work, and I've talked about it a lot on this podcast. I like conscious breath work where you're breathing in a circular motion with no holds at the top or bottom. And there's millions of facilitators, millions of ways of doing it. Some people do 2 inhales in, 1 inhale out, all through the mouth. Other breathwork patterns are breathing in and out through the mouth in like a slow tempo. Some of them do faster tempo, but you find what works for you if you're drawn to that. My point is, if you just commit to it and focus on the journey, and I'm here today. Today I'm going to meditate. Today I'm going to make conscious contact. Today I'm going to cleanse myself. How do you cleanse yourself? Exercise, expand your health rays. That's one of the ways to push things out of your outer aura. Meditation is another beautiful way. Grounding is a beautiful way. You can do salt baths, sea salt baths with lavender even if you want. Cleaning yourself. What is your dominant thought pattern? How are you training your mind? Are you training it to focus on things that you want to pull in, or are you training it to focus on things that you're worried about? There's all these things we can do. Energy healing is phenomenal. You can book a private session. You can do these practices within yourself. Meditation Twin Hearts is a beautiful cleansing meditation. I know there are all kinds, but if you make daily conscious contact and you are slowly cleansing and shedding and staying focused and staying steady on the path, this is how you get there. And I wanted to share that, especially with this aggressive nature in which we want to get to the end. And I'm so guilty of this. And this is why I share my experience, what happened with me. It took me years to repair my energy body after ascending too quickly. And so now, even in pranic healing, when you go through the classes and you get to the higher levels, before you do Arhatic Yoga 1, which is not exercise, yoga meaning union, it's breathing practices, different meditations, you have to do a prep class before you can even apply to do level 1, because they want to responsibly make sure you're not going to fry your body. So when you apply for level 1, they scan your energy centers to see if your energy centers can hold it, which is another beautiful thing that I love about the work that I'm in, because when people say I'm enlightened and I'm just this being, you can look at their chakras and see, You sure about that? I'm not seeing what you're saying, which is so amazing about this work. And with that, you can measure your own progress based on the size of your chakras and know that while you may not see the results instantaneously, you are making progress, slow and steady. And that's why I share what I did to myself and how this work it is a journey. It's not a sprint. This is like a marathon race. And in the world of people wanting to aggressively get there and having no patience and the quick fix mentality, the hack mentality, I would really invite you to go back to the basics. Build the foundation. Without the foundation, everything falls apart. And this is a time to really turn in and tune out the world and the agendas and the propaganda and the narratives and go back inside, making conscious contact with your intuition and making sure that you're in alignment with what your soul came here to do and with what you want to create. And that is all I had to offer. Let's go into a healing. You can uncross your arms and legs and focus on your breathing. Okay, and so it is. Friends, I appreciate you so much, and I want to wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.